Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. This is Ray again in London with Kam in Georgia. I keep forgetting to say Georgia. I keep saying Florida, but Kam has now moved to Georgia.
Savannah.
So he's in Savannah, Georgia, yeah. So, Kam, we're back again to talk about a welcome win, 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. Not really much to say about that, really. I mean, you know, it's a win is a win. But one thing I really was happy about, the fact that no Eric Dier was in the team. What do you think about that? No Dier.
Well, for the first, what I have to say about that, thank you, Ray, for getting me back. I mean, it was a game very hard for us to really pick out too much out of it. But I tell you one thing that I did pick out. Obviously, we weren't Dier at the back. No pun intended. Because the main thing there is I was just shocked, Ray. I have to say I was absolutely shocked because 20 minutes went by and we hadn't conceded. Normally, I was expecting it to be 3-0 down at least, especially the way that Palace have been scoring recently. So, yeah, I mean, wow, someone must have injected in a few of those players that defensive pill. Well, they must have taken it because taking Dier out, what a difference did it make? And, you know, two things I noticed about Dier not being there. One is Longley suddenly seems to be able to defend. Yep. I mean, what that last-ditch tackle he did.
That was like a WWE move, wasn't it? Like a clothesline.
But Romero was a different player. I thought those two played so much better together with Dier not being there. I mean, it was like it was transforming in terms of defense. Okay, it was only Palace, but wow.
No, you say only Palace, but they've been scoring good goals. You know, they've been scoring lots of goals since Roy took over. What do you think about bringing Emerson Royale back as a right-sided centre-back? What did you think of that move?
I mean, I thought from the beginning of the season and from last season, I would never have said this, but I think he's probably been, outside of Kane, our best player of the season.
Really? They'd go that far?
I'd go that far. The only one who could defend. Funny, is it? Royale comes back. We've now got a clean sheet in how many games?
I don't know. I don't even care to remember. But it just shows you can have Porro and Royale in the same team.
Porro clearly is not a defender. We might have signed him as a right back, but didn't we sign Gareth Bale as a left back?
Yeah, we did.
Would you ever put Gareth Bale in as left back? No. Would you ever put Porro in as right back? No. It was a disaster. Having Emerson Royale that gave him the freedom to move forward. Royale is not a bombing forward right back that someone like Conte wanted, but he can defend.
He can defend very well, actually. He's a good defender.
In a team that cannot defend, that couldn't defend it, even know what defending, probably couldn't even spell it. We needed someone who knew actually what it was, and I think he's made that much of a difference. And that's why when his name was read out, the whole of the stadium actually cheered. When the hell did that ever happen for Emerson Royale ever in the past?
No, he's proved us all wrong. I mean, even from the beginning when I saw him play, I thought, this guy, how the hell is he a professional footballer? He can't even pass the ball. But you know, he's proved me wrong. He's a good player. He can defend. He's not the bombing right back, but then that's fine. He's a good defender. We need defenders. My question to you now is, do we still need to go and sign a right-sided centre-back at the end of the season, or do we think that Emerson Royale can fulfil that role?
Emerson Royale can fulfil that role if he does it, if he is not called upon to go forward and do the bombing forward right back role. If we're going to play a back four, that's your guy. If we're going to play a back five, I'm not sure he can fulfill that role. Porro definitely cannot play in a back five. Where he played, he can defend a little bit. Cannot defend. That couldn't defend it, even know what defending, probably couldn't even spell it. We needed someone who knew actually what it was, and I think he's made that much of a difference. And that's why when his name was read out, the whole of the stadium actually cheered. When the hell did that ever happen for Emerson Royale ever in the past?
No, he's proved us all wrong. I mean, even from the beginning when I saw him play, I thought, this guy, how the hell is he a professional footballer? He can't even pass the ball. But you know, he's proved me wrong. He's a good player. He can defend. He's not the bombing right back, but then that's fine. He's a good defender. We need defenders. My question to you now is, do we still need to go and sign a right-sided centre-back at the end of the season, or do we think that Emerson Royale can fulfil that role?
Emerson Royale can fulfill that role if he does it, if he is not called upon to go forward and do the bombing forward right back role. If we're going to play a back four, that's your guy. If we're going to play a back five, I'm not sure he can fulfill that role. Porro definitely cannot play in a back five. Where he played, he can defend a little bit.
Oh, you mean, hold on a second, Porro can't play in a back four, you mean?
I don't think he can't play in a back five.
Really?
I wouldn't even back anything.
So you mean he can't play as a right wing back with a centre back behind him? No, he can't do that?
With a centre back, no. Well, clearly he couldn't, because look how many goals he conceded when he's played that role.
Yeah, but I think that's more a function of the RCB being pretty poor than him. But anyway, so I didn't quite get the answer. Can Emerson Royale be our solution to the right centre back? So Royale, Romero, and one another would be our back three. Is that possible or probable or not?
I think if you're going to play Royale, you've got to play a back four.
Really? So he's got to be right back, yeah?
Yes.
You didn't see enough in that performance to give you hope?
I think it gives me hope. I think that, it was so good to see a 4-4-2 again. And I think it worked.
Oh, hold on, we didn't play a 4-4-2. We played a 3-5-2. We played. We played. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I thought we did, didn't we?
Well, no, I thought we played Royale. We played the two centre backs in Romero.
Oh, you're right. Actually, 4-4-2.
We played Davis on the other side, and we had four in the midfield where Son dropped back on the left side with Davis, and we had a Porro on the other side.
Oh yeah, I take it back. You're right. So we had a 4-4-2.
And I thought we looked a balanced team. First time I've seen Spurs look semi-balanced. That actually we were closing players down. They didn't get that space to come in behind us and absolutely rip us to pieces. People knew who they had to pick up. People knew what they were doing, and there was enough bodies in midfield to be able to take some control over the game and take some possession. Did you know it's the possession stats? I can't remember them now, but a lot better than Spurs have ever had in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think you're right. We played a 4-4-2 and it looked a lot better. I was getting confused because I thought Ben Davis was the third centre back, but he wasn't. He was just playing left back, wasn't he?
Yes.
What did you think of the performance of Son and good again? They're actually watching the podcast because after the berating you gave to Kulusevski, they dropped him. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's lost his form, so he needs to gather his form, but. We had Porro on the right, and who was playing on the left as a Son on the left, and we had Skipp and Højbjerg again, which I wasn't impressed again, but Skipp made a lot of mistakes there. Højbjerg wasn't great, Again, I was surprised, but happy to see Bissouma on the bench. What did you think about that?
I was happy to see Bissouma on the bench, and I'd like to see him back in the team. I mean, we only got 4 games left, but the encouraging thing for us is we've got our best player to come back here. Haven't we? We've got Bentancur to come back in that position. Yeah. That will absolutely transform it.
But he's not coming back till November. So.
No, he's not coming back till next year. But what it does show to us that the 4-4-2 format for Spurs we're not a 5-3. We're just not a team that can play that. We never were. We don't know how to play it. None of those players knew how to play it. And this is why I wanted to talk to you a bit about Daniel Levy.
Okay. But before we go to Daniel Levy, I wanted to touch on the news that our captain, Hugo Lloris, is out for the season with a muscle injury. Question to you, do you think he'll ever play for Tottenham again, or do you want to see him play for Tottenham again, more likely?
I think this is a time to say thank you for your service. It's been a good few years. You're there from 2012. It's been, 11 years now? Thanks. There's been some good times. There's been some bad times. I remember that goal against Brighton when he fell over and almost broke his elbow. But I've seen some great saves, seen some great stops. He was the ultimate sweeper keeper that came out and really gave that whole way of playing its name under Pochettino's good years. He was one of the best keepers we've had in many years. I don't see him back ever playing for Tottenham again. He's too old. He hasn't got it, but he's given us a good service. So thanks, Lloris, for Hugo, for everything. You're always welcome back at the club.
So let me ask you a question about Hugo Lloris. What's your lowest point with Lloris and your highest point with Lloris as a Tottenham keeper?
I think my highest point with Lloris would have been that 2015-2016 season where we
went unbeaten at home, you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think he did he was amazing. And he played that role so well. I think my lowest point with Lloris probably has been some of the was probably that Newcastle game where we had, I know it's very recent. There have been some really bad low points in the past, but that game summed it up. What was it? 5 goals in 25 minutes. I mean, it's so sad that he had to go out on that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's very sad. He deserves better than that, I think.
He deserves better than that. But my God, after that performance, what can you do? You can't bring back a keeper who does that. I mean, Leeds have probably gone through the same thing with Messiah where they've taken him out. I mean, it's awful. Those are my low points.
Yeah. But just quickly going back to the match before you talk about Daniel Levy, it seems like we could potentially. Now Villa lost again today. That's 2 defeats in a row for Villa. seems like exactly what you said is happening. Villa, I thought, hold on a second, we could actually end up 7th here. So we better lose a few games because we don't want to be playing in that crappy Conference League. Do you think that's what's happening?
That's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to end up exactly where we don't want to be. It's like you spend your whole life avoiding something, and then right at the end you go crashing into it. And that's Spurs going dancing around the whole thing, and in the end we just like make a beeline towards it and can't help ourselves, and bang, we go crashing into the Europa Conference League. I don't see how, with Brighton having 3 games in hand over us, right, and only being 3 points behind, that they're not going to take the 6th spot. They just beat Man United.
Yeah, they beat Man United. Yeah, they deserve to win.
Something we couldn't even do at home.
Yeah.
And they've got three games in hand. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but they have, and they're going to take that spot. And our poor old Spurs are going to be begging. Well, it depends. If we let Villa beat us away, we might end up 8th. But poor old Spurs are going to be stuck at 7th and in that crappy league out in the middle of Moldova somewhere, playing our games on a Thursday night, and then just falling to pieces on a Sunday at home.
But the interesting thing is, if we lose to Villa, say a heavy defeat 3-0, they could potentially take over our spot because of goal difference. But let's see. But let me put another point to you. But we can't be picky and choosy. And a cup is a cup. We potentially actually can win the Europa Conference League. If West Ham are in the semi-final, we're better than them. Couldn't we actually win this trophy?
So
why are you putting Why are you putting your nose up at this trophy? We're not in any position to put our noses up at any trophy.
Agree. I completely agree. I just don't think we're good enough. We were not good enough to be. We were beaten by some Eastern European team last time we were there, who were full of amateurs. We couldn't even beat them at home. I can't remember their name.
Ferreira Rocher was one team, but that was a Portuguese team, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. There was another team, the team that knocked us out. We had Conte had just come in on a high, right, taken over Spurs and knocked out the Europa Conference. I can't get it right. That's how poor we are. I do not think we have the strength in depth to go to crappy little stadiums in the middle of nowhere and come back and pick ourselves up on a Sunday. So let's go into the Europa Conference League and then don't expect anything next year.
Okay, so fine. Final thoughts on the win, and then we'll talk about your thoughts on Daniel Levy. A good win against Palace. Palace have been playing well, so a win is a win.
The best thing about today was the shock, absolute shock. I nearly fell over when I looked up and half an hour had gone by. We hadn't conceded a goal.
Yeah, and a clean sheet as well. Was that a first clean sheet for a long time?
I mean, 2 changes there. Back 4. Royale, who knows how to defend, back in. Davies in a more comfortable position. Longley actually finally playing like a defender. And Romero in charge. And I think the biggest problem we've had here is that when Dier's playing, it looks like he seems to be the one in charge, and Romero just takes a back seat and forgets how to defend. Not having Dier in made all the difference today. Yeah, we should have got a couple more goals. I thought we were scrappy in midfield. I don't think that we showed anything. I don't think Palace turned up to the races. They had a couple of chances. They probably could have done better, but we should have had 2 or 3 more. But overall, you can't really complain at a 1-0, especially when you've lost only got 1 point from the last 4 games.
Yeah. What did you think about your friend Oliver Skipp?
I think Skipp could just be like he was 2 seasons ago. Wouldn't we all be happier? I don't know what is wrong with him, why he is not taking this opportunity. He's getting time to get match fit, stay in the team, play alongside Højbjerg, and he just seems to actually, rather than getting better and better week in, week out, to me, he seems to be going the opposite way. And I just don't understand why this guy has not taken the opportunity he's given him. But, Norwich waits. Maybe that's where he needs to go. I think
maybe that's his level.
I do not think that if Tottenham want to win anything, do anything, then building your team around someone like Skipp is really going to make you a big.
I don't think so. Once Bissouma and Bentancur are back, I don't see Skipp getting a look in at all in that team. Anyway, now we've come to that time of the podcast. We're going to give your thoughts about Daniel Levy. So please, pray tell.
Well, I mean, I think we owe Daniel Levy a little bit of an apology here. I really do. And the reason why I say that is because, judging by what he's done over the last few years, he's bringing in Mourinho, bringing in Conte without changing the team, looking around. He's acted more like a fan and more like a bit of a headless chicken than somebody who's actually taking real footballing decisions. And it proves that he tried. He's gone with instinct. He's gone with gut, and his gut's been completely wrong. What he has done wrong for me is he's spent the money. I think he has, and he's done what probably. If you put one of armchair fans like us in charge, what we probably would have done is bring in these managers without actually looking what this team is, what these players can give, and trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. And I think for that sense, we've lambasted him, we've given him a hard time, but I think he probably deserves the benefit of a doubt of a fan running a club very, very badly. What this guy needs is to let a manager come in and let the manager actually decide, take over recruitment and take over coaching, and he needs to sit back and out of it and have nothing to do with it. And I'll give you a prime example. Bissouma comes in, plays one good game against us, scores a great goal. Old headless chicken Levy goes in and tries to sign him. He sees a big name like Perisic, doesn't look at how old he is or what he's doing. Oh, wow, World Cup finalist, blah, 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 goes and signs him. It's a fan thing. It's not how he would have fitted into the team that he looks at. And I think that a lot of his missteps have been his absolute desire to succeed as a fan without understanding football. And that's where the disconnect is for me.
I totally disagree with you. I think basically he's acted like a businessman. He doesn't want to spend money. He spent some money. But what about this? Let me put this to you. Mourinho wanted Skriniar. He got Joe Rodon. Harry Redknapp wanted Tevez and Gary Cahill. He got Ryan Nelson and Louis Saha. Mm-hmm. Pochettino wanted somebody. He couldn't get anyone for 500 days.
Nope.
Conte wanted Bastoni and he got Longley. So,
because, again,
tell me why.
I will say to you, and I'm not saying that Levy's some kind of genius. He clearly isn't. What he's tried to do is run the club as a headless chicken fan who knee-jerks to every single thing he reads in the paper, every single thing he probably sees us say here, and he might be acting obviously very tight with his money, but he's not handing over and saying, hey, what kind of team do you need to build? What kind of team have I got? And what kind of players do we need to get? So he brings in Conte, big name, wow. But this was never a Conte team. None of those players were a Conte type of players. And this is what he did. He looked at, and we were all guilty of it too, thinking Conte is great things since sliced bread. We need him. Rather than actually sitting back and having a footballing mind, say, look, this is where your team is. This is the kind of players you do. You bring this guy in. You're going to need to give him 5 years in the wilderness before you're going to get anywhere. And this ain't the guy who's going to hang around for 5 years. His biggest mistake for me was, look what Liverpool have done. They've let Klopp have a bad season. They've let him have 2-3 bad seasons. We had Pochettino having 3 months bad time. So yeah, let him have the bad time. Maybe he wouldn't have made top 4. Maybe he wouldn't have got it. But, Alex Ferguson went through it. Pep Guardiola went through it. Everybody went through it. This guy, acting like a stupid, silly fan, just thought, all right, yeah, chop him. Mourinho, ooh, big name in big lights. This was never.
He's always had a crush on Mourinho. He tried to sign him before he went to Chelsea. So
this was never a Mourinho team. This was never a Conte team. All we had to do is accept, okay, Poch, you're going to go through a bad time. You're going to need time to rebuild. If he had still been there 4 years later, what would this team be like now?
Yeah. But the problem is that Levy saw his Champions League money going out the door.
To be fair to Levy, everyone fans were saying time for Pochettino to go. Because we were acting like greedy fans who need everything now, right? And this is exactly how Levy's acting, and this is what the problem has been at this club. He shouldn't be involved. He should be involved in running the finances. He should be maybe involving the marketing, etc., etc. Stay out of football, Levy, and we may leave you alone.
Okay. Now, a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we close the podcast. Firstly, Clement Longley, would you buy him for 14 million approximately, or send him back to Barcelona?
Buy him.
Okay. And the second thing is, I heard there's rumors around that Nagelsmann, your favorite choice, wants to come to Tottenham, but he's not making any decisions until he knows who the sporting director is. And there's rumors that Ralph Rangnick wants to be the sporting director at Tottenham, or would be interested in being. So what do you think of a Nagelsmann-Rangnick combination at Tottenham?
Can't be any worse than the one we had before. At least we know that Rangnick's not going to end up being banned for 3 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would be good. I mean, I think we could do with some German discipline, to be honest with you. I think we could do with some of the stronger mindset. One of the things that you do get from these managers is a brain, you know, and a stronger mentality. I think Nagelsmann will be really good for this team. I'm not sure how many of these players will survive, but then we need a 2 to 3 year rebuild. My view here is, I don't care who comes in, who the manager is, and I've said this before, but these guys who think they know what they're doing, like the Levys and the board, or ex-Spurs fans, whatever, need to stay out of managing football clubs. They cannot manage football clubs.
But I personally don't think Nagelsmann is going to come because he wants control over transfers, and I'm not sure Levy's going to give that up.
You've got to. This is my whole point. I'm giving
the whole point,
the benefit of the doubt. But let go. Let go.
I think it's easier said than done, Cam. I think it's easier said than done.
I don't agree with you.
Okay. Well, listen, it's been great talking to you again. We look forward to the next podcast. Come on, you Spurs. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye to our fans? And remember, fans, by the way, if you enjoy the chat and everything, please remember to subscribe to the channel and you give us a like. And everybody listening on the podcast, it'd be great to hear from you and your thoughts. But Cam, sorry, I'm going to leave the last word to you.
What I wanted to say is, I would like to know, but would be interesting to hear back from people, do we actually want to win at Villa if that means coming in 7th? But I suppose as a Spurs fan, we want to win every game we can, and we'll take whatever we get.
Yep. Okay, well, tell us in the comment section if you think we should win at Villa, or should we just lose and finish 8th so we don't have to play in the Conference Cup competition. But everybody, thank you very much for listening, watching the podcast, listening. Take care. We'll speak to you soon on the next podcast, and come on, you Spurs. Let's go.